Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are here for the PSS4. We are in round 3. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined in the booth by Bryan Manolakos. How's it going, Mano?
It is going great, although it could be going a little better. If only, I will say that last game that we just watched was awesome, but that versus 30 more minutes of sleep, it's a tough call. I think I'm going with the sleep, despite the awesome Magic they played. It was great.
The value of sleep has increased as you get older, or is it just because of your job?
I don't even know, man. I just like, I don't, if I go to bed after like 11, 15 or so, like it's just not as good for me in the morning. I don't know. And I'm already going to be way past that now, but it's worth it. It's worth it for content as good as this. So it's a price I'm willing to pay.
Okay. We have a matchup between Michael Flores up against Ryan Grodzinski. I'm going to bring up the decks and we will talk about what they have available. Okay, so Michael Flores has brought Stasis, Replenish combo, and the Rift Slide deck. His Replenish deck has been banned for this round. And Ryan has Tradewind Survival, Enchantress, and also Stasis, but his Stasis has been banned. Do you want to make a prediction, or do you just want to jump right into the decks?
I haven't really thought about it a lot. I'm just happy we don't have both Stasis decks in play, because I don't even know what to do at that point. But
all right, let's look at the decks. And first we have Flores. He will be debuting his Stasis deck. So
yeah, you can smell it.
Yeah. So we'll briefly touch on what Stasis normally does and kind of what this version does. So Stasis, kind of the combo, we'll say, is the card Stasis with the land Forsaken City. And you're able to, instead of just paying mana the traditional way, you're able to exile a card from your hand to pay the upkeep of Stasis. And then traditionally, your opponent isn't, if they're not able to kill you, or you have a bunch of counter spells to protect that or prevent damage at that point, Black Vice is the way that it wins. So all those are present in Flores' list, though he's cut down on the number of Black Vices. He's added Gaia's Blessing as... I'm interested to hear the exact theory of this. I think maybe he just feels that Stasis gets to a point where it can't lose, and Gaia's Blessing just kind of shores up matchups that a traditional Stasis list would potentially lose. I think that's the theory. I'm not quite sold on it. I think maybe just in a lot of matchups, just having more Black Vices would make the matchup a lot easier, but we'll see if the Gaia's Blessing comes into play. Do you have any comments on this list?
What am I missing here? How does he beat other Gaia's Blessings?
I think he counters them, I think is the idea.
What if you discard Gaia's Blessing to hand size? Does it trigger?
No, but you still have the other Gaia's.
No, but that's
if the opponent, you're saying yes. No, yes, if the opponent just goes to 8 cards and discards the Gaia's Blessing, it will not trigger. So
okay, so then that's fine. So then it's winnable. Okay. Although thanks, Flores, for the fucking 0 Vice 2 Gaia's Blessing Stasis deck. God damn it. All right.
All right. And the other deck that Ryan will be playing is the Enchantress deck. So quite a different dynamic, where it is definitely going to be, once it gets to a certain point, it is just going to try and turbo out a bunch of stuff. The draw engines come in Enchantress's presence and are Gothian Enchantress, and then every enchantment, which is a lot of the deck, will contribute to more cards after that. So we are looking to see a really interesting matchup. If Ryan's able to get those draw engines in play, I really like his chances. And if he can't, then it might be problematic and the games might go really long. So let's not wait any longer, because these things might take a while. Let's jump down to the match. Mano, if you want to let the players know, they can begin.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you think? If Ryan does get his draw engine going and, taps out, draws a bunch of cards, whatever, like, I don't even know if that's that good. On paper, again, I'm not the best pre-modern player in the world, and I have not delved into this, but my gut says the Stasis deck looks pretty favored here.
So I guess the thing is how many threats, like how many cards actually met? Well, okay, I'll back up, because we do have a turn 1 Black Vice. So the one Black Vice that's in the deck, it's coming out on turn 1,
and it's fucking 4th edition.
And that really could change how things play out, because it applies a lot of pressure, and given that there's only one, and that's the way that most likely Flores will win. I guess he could win with decking with Gaia's Blessing loops. This could really just change the dynamic of how this game plays out.
Did he just keep this for the beater draw, the turn 1 Black Vice beater draw? I think he might have. That's insane.
Yeah, so did Ryan not update his dice? Did he not take damage from the black dice?
I'm assuming he didn't mulligan thrice, so I'm assuming that he's taken some damage. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just message the players
Want to
quick.
ping them?
Yeah. All right, we'll just check with them. So yeah, it's kind of like the plan of what Ryan's trying to do is kind of fitting into what the Black Place wants, because he's got Argothian Enchantress and Enchantress's presence, and that's just going to fill up his hand with whatever card that Ryan plays. So,
are any of those May triggers, or are they must triggers?
I don't think they are, though. I've not been in the situation very often where I do not want to draw. The Argothian is not a May. Okay, and I do that a lot, so I always thought I was spelling enchantresses wrong.
Yeah.
It was presence. Presence was the one that I got wrong.
So they're both. I guess Mike isn't really doing his thing. His thing is not playing a turn one vice, but Ryan is most certainly doing his thing.
Yeah, and there just must be less cards in Ryan's hands than I thought, because
he is taking some. No, he took a fetch land.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Did they message you back? Because like this doesn't really seem.
They've not responded, so maybe there just are way less cards in hand. There's only 3 cards. Okay, so I guess.
So did Flores keep turn 1 vice on the play, and then Ryan like double or triple mulligan or whatever, and just like, God damn it.
Maybe that's the case. So what I was kind of talking about before we saw the black vice was that there aren't that many actual like threats in the Enchantress deck. There's like Words of War is a way to win, and then like Replenish is a really interesting card. But beyond that, it very depends on the Enchantress list. Some have like Sacred Mesas, or some have some number of Decree of Justices. But I think Ryan is pretty light. So the theory could be that Flores is just trying to counter all of those and then have the game go super long.
Right. It's the old who did that? Who's the Psychotog player that
Carlos Romao.
He would let all the factor fictions resolve and counter the 6 spells that mattered or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which ended up winning him a world championship. I actually don't hate that play here.
Yeah, it's kind of like lineup theory, I think, is kind of what it applies to. Is you basically look at the decks and say like, okay, I have the answers for the cards that actually matter, and it really could change. Like this being open deck list, like would make a huge difference. Like you might not be able to make that assumption if a card like Decree of Justice, which could be somewhat problematic because you can't really be countered, and we see Stasis was that cast or?
I don't know what's going on. He went like end of turn stroke.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the stroke's in the graveyard and the Stasis is in play. So.
Right, but like, where's the mana for that Stasis? What am I missing here?
I do see it Undiscovered or Forsaken City, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm gonna look. Yeah, this game is weird so far. Let's see. I'm gonna Google something here. Hold on. Right.
He untapped City with it, so we must have missed a whole turn that I.
They are moving fast. I'll give them that. So. They're moving fast.
I feel like I've not been as diligent as watching what has been going on in the play area tonight.
Like,
so.
That last match, like every turn took 4 minutes because they were positioning themselves for an inevitable battle over this one spell. This game, they're just flying.
Well, which is very good because this game is very possible that it takes like 35 turns. So.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar, like the cards that Ryan has in play, he has an Elephant Grass, which is basically just an enchantment that has upkeep. It prevents creatures from attacking, which Flores is not in any interest in doing in this matchup. And then Sterling Grove is the other card, which does protect his enchantments from bounce spells, I guess is the highest relevancy that it has. I guess it could tutor for something, potentially.
Right. I mean, Seal of Cleansing at some point is probably going to do something, going to be important in this matchup.
Okay. So Ryan is starting to take damage from the Black Vice. So that is the clock that's in play. Though a card like Seal Cleansing could answer either ends of either the Stasis or the Black Vice. And the one problem is you can answer the Black Vice, but if Flores does have like the extra Gaia's Blessings to get it back, you kind of have to find a way to win. Like, I don't know.
What are we missing here? How didn't Flores tap out? Like, this is moving too fast. Didn't he tap out for like Gush at some point? Like, what is happening? I thought he did that like a minute ago. And now is that state? I don't even know if that stasis is in play. Like, I can't figure this out. It might not be in play. Did he get exiled? Did he exile it? He exiled it to Forsaken City.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot more sense. All right.
I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? He's tapping out for these Gushes with stasis in play, and then untapping. No one's taking Vice damage. It's like we're in Bizarro World.
That is an exile zone. Okay, I will understand. Okay, so that was our misunderstanding. That I was thinking that stasis. All the viewers
somehow found a way, despite having a reasonable camera, to just complicate things with his placement of cards.
I mean, he even has like a designated play zone that we didn't recognize. So I think this can fall on us. I think we should.
Man, it's right next to his cards in play. Normally, when you play Stasis and Black Vice, they go right above like your library or your graveyard, right? So I don't quite understand.
All right, so Mano not willing to take the fall. I will take the fall.
No, I'll take like 20% of it.
We do see a Gaia's Blessing that's gonna juice up Flores' deck. It feels like it almost comes at a cost because you have to tap the Forsaken City, so eventually you're gonna have to put a card back in, or to untap that. So
you can slowly exile cards that aren't as important to your Forsaken City, and then eventually have all gas left in your deck when you start doing blessing shenanigans. Like, I mean, that's really long game stuff. But
I mean, the times that I've talked to Flores about, he does have kind of that mentality of like with the older card pool, that lineup theory does come into play a lot more than it does in modern day Magic. And I know he's talked about it in different matchups, like the life deck, where he's really looking just to like loop certain cards and like it does, as long as I don't lose, then I'm going to win the game, kind of thing. And I think that was what drew him to adding the Gaia's Blessing to the Stasis deck.
I could see that. He's also one. He gets a little hyperbolic about it sometimes, but I often agree with him. Like, this is the only card that matters, or like only these two cards matter, nothing else matters, and that is a very lineup theory-esque, even if it is maybe taken a little bit too far. But I do agree. He's an aficionado of that and making decisions based on that, which I love. That's like really interesting Magic.
I think so too, and it's something that the game, like with the newer development, has really moved away from. Like, you could not take that school of thought and play it in modern day Magic because the cards are just the threats are. So many of the cards are threats on their own. Where in this day and age, or in this era of Magic, cards are much more synergistic. They need to work together, and certain pieces are the ones that really matter. So a very different dynamic than what you might see in modern day Magic.
And not to mention just actual threat density, right? Like, imagine playing a deck with 2 threats in modern day Magic. Like, I don't know, I guess maybe people do that, but I can't really. Given all the cards, the power creep that I see on cards, like every fucking card has 12 abilities and attacks for 7 on turn 3 or whatever with haste. I can't imagine playing decks that are threat light these days. So Sanctum in play. Ryan now has access to even more mana. He has a bunch of mana. They're all just staring at each other. I think this is favoring Flores, but
Yeah, because the problem here is, unless Ryan can have like one really big powerful turn where he's putting a number of cards that really matter to play, which there aren't that many, and then Mike has to not be able to answer those. So
is he paying the upkeep on that elephant grass? Is that what we're seeing?
No, that's exploration that's in play. The counter that's on that, I think, is to signal that he has played his extra land. So
man, this is like, I'm having trouble. Maybe I'm just old, but I'm having real trouble following what's going on in this game of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I gotta look at the deck list for Ryan to see like how many actual threats are in his list and how this kind of lines up.
Let's just take a look at that.
So I'm looking. I see Opalescence is a card that will eventually matter.
And Words of War.
Yes, and Replenish.
Oh, right. And
And
replenish.
you could say Seal of Cleansing matters. Uh, Potentially, I don't know if solitary confinement wouldn't work against the Guy's Blessing plan.
Yeah.
Aura Silence, I guess, has some interaction, and Words of War. So there are not very many cards. Uh, and the Stasis deck does have a lot of counter spells.
Right. That definitely seems that he's grinding, right? He's hard casting all these gushes. He stroked for 3. He's discarding random chaff to Forsaken Cities. He is definitely planning. It seems like you're right. He's planning to fight over, the 4 cards that matter.
Yeah, we see the Aura Silence in play, so that's going to make things more expensive, but it kind of like just doesn't really even matter. I mean, I guess it makes Stasis 2 more to cast, but like if you get rid of the Black Vice, then the same problem is like Mike is still just going to try and counter the spells that matter, and eventually you'll find Guy's Blessing to put that Black Vice
Is
back.
playing either side of this fun for you, do you think? Like, would you be enjoying yourself if you were sitting in one of these seats?
Yeah, I think like as long as the players like move kind of fast, I think it's really interesting actually. I think
might be true. That might be true, but it's not the same thing as saying is it fun. Would you be enjoying yourself in one of these seats?
Yes, I would.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoy like the positioning that takes place, and I think it's really exciting that you feel like you can kind of like navigate it and have a lot of agency of how the game plays out. I'm assuming that you are not quite on the same.
No, I agree. It's interesting, like the lineup theory, a lot of stuff going on. There's some interest. There's plenty of interesting stuff. All that said, I would not want to be playing this match right now.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like some people will enjoy it, but like to me, like this is like a deep game of Magic, which I think I really appreciate when it does come up, because there are certain games where it just comes down to like some people combo you out, or they just have like the Goblin Lackey, and so this doesn't always happen. I wouldn't want this all the time, but like yeah, every now and then I do enjoy this game of Magic.
I'm wondering how deep it is, because I don't mind the depth is fine. It just feels like there's kind of a lot of not stuff that doesn't matter, and a lot of time being spent on just like positioning for one turn with a bunch of random stuff, and I don't know. It's just like it's a lot of time for the payoff. Like there's not that many awesome decisions, not that much, not that much depth, despite all the time being spent. I guess that's it.
Yeah, like if you're looking at like from Ryan's position, like if you have to be scared of. I mean, maybe not in this situation. You're not that scared of Stasis because you do have Aura of Silence and Seal Cleansing, which he just used a seal on the Black Vice. But like, you gotta try and stay under a Black Vice kind of thing, and like, which is very counterintuitive because your deck typically tries to get a bunch of cards in hand, like with the engine, and so there's a lot of different tensions, and so like the typical game that you play with an Enchantress deck is completely out the window. Like you have to do very different things, and to me, I think that's interesting. So. We do have a Thawing Glaciers. We have had. Oh, we did not have Thawing Glaciers last match. I was gonna say we've had a Thawing Glaciers every match tonight, but no, that was not. Neither Tom nor Christian had it in their list. So.
Yeah, the old Goblin Glacier deck. Not sure that one quite gets it.
The innovations we haven't quite got there.
Yeah, they call it GGs. Words. Okay, so words. He goes for words here, right? That's his like actual kill spell. Goodbye, yeah. Arcane Denial.
3 copies of Replenish mean that like it being in the graveyard isn't mean that it's just game over.
Right. Yeah, it's countered. All right, I'll draw whatever it is, 3 cards.
Yeah, I was
like Ryan clearly is just has infinite mana, can draw as much stuff as he wants, can kind of do whatever he wants. Does that mean he's going to win the game? I
not necessarily. No, it depends on how many spells Flores has in his hand and how many like counter spells will line up against a number of replenishes. I think Ryan still can win this game. I think Flores is advantaged. But I think it's definitely possible that here's a card like Opalescence. So if this card were to resolve, then that would be very problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, like he can't actually beat that card. Right?
No,
I guess he can stasis it.
Yeah, there's an aura of silence in place, so I think that Ryan would be fine. So we do see
Right.
thwart as the response for that. So yeah, so like the card, like Ryan needs to have multiple replenishes in the next few turns. I think otherwise, I think his chances are pretty slow. It's okay. We do see replenish. There is another thwart. Okay.
This one alternate cost hit. All right.
We see a second sanctum. The other one goes to the graveyard. And so is this deploying replenish? I think that's kind of what we need to see from Ryan.
Yeah, I mean that would obviously be insane. That would be it.
I guess in theory you could just chain together maybe a number of enchantments and try and draw another replenish.
So now what are the cards that, like, I mean, I guess he has blessings, right? But he has the words, the opalescence, and one replenish in his graveyard. That's 3 of his like 5 cards that can actually win. His seal is dead, his aura's out there, but he's been plowing through cards that quote unquote matter.
Yeah, I think it's just 2 more copies of replenish that like actually matter. Because really even a card like seal cleansing and aura of silence, those aren't threats. Those are like they get you more time. They can get rid of a black place, but they like don't win the game on their own because Flores has the guy's blessings. So I think it just comes down to 2 more copies of replenish. I think those are really the only cards that truly matter from Flores's perspective. Chad has asked, does Ryan scoop or make Flores demonstrate the win? I think Ryan would scoop. I think
yes, he's a man of honor.
I think both players understand what's going on. I think they are very aware of what needs to be done, and given that deck lists are public, that there's no real advantage of continuing at that point. Yeah, Decree of Justice like is fine. Like the problem is you have to make a decree for 20, or like have a way to. I guess here Ryan can play around stasis with the aura silence and whatnot. So yeah, maybe having an extra threat like Decree of Justice would be very good against the counter spells.
Yeah, and he's gonna have plenty of mana to kind of, maybe not to make a decree for 20. That's a lot of mana. We're still on Ryan. I mean, Ryan's drawing so many cards, and now Flores is getting quite low on mana for next turn. You know, so if he doesn't have a stasis, I mean, he definitely has a stasis though, right? He's been drawing infinity cards, so he's going to have a stasis.
Yeah, Rich has just pointed out. He said it's worth noting in game 1, every time that Flores recurs a blessing, he has to exile a card. So he doesn't have like pure infinite. He can't live forever because he doesn't have a forest. He does have a forest in the sideboard, but it's not in his main deck. Though I think Ryan has drawn so many cards that I don't think that will come into play.
Takes a man like Rich Shea to notice an interaction like that. If that does come to fruition, I'm dropping from the whole thing. Just so you know, I'm out.
But it is something to be aware of. Like it's like when you look at a deck list and like there are certain angles, and like we just talked about Guy's Blessing and looping them, and that's not actually the case in game 1.
It's technically not deterministic, to use a word that Rich loves.
Yep.
What is that, another replenish?
It is.
Holy shit.
So he is basically saying, do you have another counter spell after you've
cast 2 thwarts, 1 arcane denial? He can still cast an arcane denial, so like, and he can soft cast a thwart. I don't know. If he had it, he'd play it. So I don't think he has it. Flores is not one to pretend he has a counterspell in Hem and Haw when he doesn't have one.
So this would just mean like there's no way for Flores to get out of this. I don't think like.
Well, no. Oh yeah, because he can just. I mean, that as long as that's enough.
They have Shroud. They have all his enchantments have Shroud because there's 2 Sterling Groves in play. So like even if a card like Boomerang, and I'm not even talking about like attacking. I'm just talking about like Words of War. I think would be enough over 10 turns of turns of drawing cards.
Yeah, just Words of War. But he can even attack. That's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
So I think Ryan's done it. Like
yeah, he did.
I mean, kind of made it seem like almost like this, especially from this position, that it was impossible for him to win. But him playing a bunch of threats in one turn was enough to.
Well, that's why I was asking, and I think this really showcases the power. I know that it's not a giant observation to realize that Sarah Sanctum is broken, but like, geez, this is all impossible without Sarah Sanctum, right?
Sure.
He's tapped like 20 mana this turn,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And if Flores gets to untap and have more access to, I mean, I guess he doesn't have Arcane Denial because he would have cast it, and he doesn't have Thwart because he would have cast it. So maybe that doesn't even matter anyway, and he could have slowed this down a little bit and still gotten there. But
all right, so the parallax wave that's in play. This basically could give all your creatures like vigilance because of opalescence and whatnot, and it looks like this does prompt the concession for Flores. So I would have said that I thought like the first game was almost like, I don't know what the percentages I would have thought, but I definitely would have thought that Flores was going to take game one.
Same. I like Flores' side in game one. I think it's funny that he went turn one Vice into Ryan's like double mulligan, or maybe triple mulligan, right? Because he took no damage from that.
Yeah.
So that's weird. And Ryan double or triple mulled into apparently the stones, right? Enchantress into Presence.
All right, I have the deck list. We have the Enchantress list up. So the cards we are looking at are Circle Protection Red, obviously not good. Carpet of Flowers seems absolutely awesome in this matchup.
What does it actually do? You get mana equal to the number of islands? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so you pick during one of your main phases, either main phase 1 or main phase 2, and you get mana of any color equal to the number of islands your opponent controls. So it's a way to operate under stasis. Though I guess like in this matchup, maybe I'm overselling of like how important this is, because it's not a threat. It's just kind of an answer to stasis, which never came into play in that matchup. So maybe I'm getting a little too excited. That doesn't matter. Compost is good against black cards. Not going to be seen here. Curse Totem. Flores doesn't have any creatures. Null Rod. That's Ground Seal.
Is that Ray of Revelation?
No, it's a Sacred Ground and a Seal of Cleansing. So another seal will come in. Tasabu's Web.
That's cute. It doesn't actually do anything.
I was to say, like, does that shut off the Forsaken City?
No,
I don't
Forsaken
think
City already doesn't untap. So
okay. Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But Aura is good. City of Solitude is a banger, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That one's real good.
So
is that Karmic Justice?
Karmic Justice, yeah.
I bought some of those the other day. What does it actually do?
If one of your permits would be destroyed, you get to just destroy one of their opponent's permanents. Okay. So Ryan gets a little bit of help, but the problem doesn't change that he doesn't get any more threats. He just gets cards that are like interact a little bit. Things do get a little bit better, but kind of that problem still exists of he doesn't have so many cards to win the game. So Let's look at what Flores has. And so he has a Thawing Glaciers, a Forest, a Chain of Vapor, a Capsize, 2 Compost, 2 Seed Time, Intuition, Hibernation, Mana Short, Stroke of Genius, 2 Factor Fiction, and Ensnare. So quite a variety of cards. I'm trying to figure out.
Fucking insane sideboard. Ensnare, Hibernation, Seed Time. What the fuck, Flores? That's unbelievable.
I think he's mapped out certain matchups that he's expected, and he's like, all right, these are the cards that I want. And him having access to green mana provides sideboard cards that we have not seen in Stasis very often. So,
man. Yet he eschews the one Stasis card, the one green card I have seen in Stasis decks, Root Maze. Right? He's not even actually messing around with that. It's just like it's win more, I guess.
Yeah. That is like kind of the card that like the easy button. You just get the Stasis under or Forsaken City and Root Maze, and pretty much is a lock against a lot of decks.
Yeah.
Chad has asked, is Hibernation worth it? So Hibernation would interact with Argothian Enchantress, which otherwise is very difficult because it has Shroud. I don't know if it really matters. Like, I don't think it actually is the card that matters. I mean, the card engine, like drawing cards does kind of matter, but if it's resolved at one point and then you're drawing a Hibernation to pick up 1 or maybe 2 Enchantresses, you have to counter them both on the way back down anyways. And
I don't know. And he's not going to outdraw Ryan, right? Like, is it even worth fighting this fight, like with Factor Fictions and this other Stroke and trying to fight over Enchantresses and all that shit? Like, is that Does that even
No,
feel like worth fighting for? I don't think it does.
I don't think so. You could make an argument that like stroke is a card that you just might get to the point where you're able to just to stroke out Ryan. He has
Yeah, yeah. You
10
can get a
cards
stroke in.
and
He has one in, right? He played one
yeah,
in.
yeah, he played one in game one. So I'm not sure like what changes in Flores' deck, but like the game plan doesn't really change. Like I don't see a different angle that he takes, right?
Right. He can't try and do this card advantage thing. Like he could break like mana short. I don't hate. Um, I don't know. I don't think hibernation's worth it. None of these cards really do much. Or anything in his deck that's just terrible? Not really, right?
Yeah, everything seems fine.
So like he's gonna do one or two marginal changes. You know, mana short. He's not bringing in thaws.
I guess I mean at some point he's probably bringing in the green source, right? Like for the guy's blessing loop.
I don't even know. That might just be too cute.
All right.
Right.
Well,
are they ready? Are they going? Let me see.
it looks like they're shuffling up, but we'll move down there and see.
Yeah. I wish I knew more about Premodern and or Magic and was smarter and or better so that I could have some better commentary on this because I'm like outside the matrix. These guys are in the matrix and I'm not sure what's going on, right?
It's really interesting, I think, because these are not skills that are very transferable, I guess I'll say. Like this is not like you unless you've played these specific decks and you're like you might not be in this mindset of like you're used to like combat math and combat tricks and like doing those kind of things because that's the game we've played for 20 years, but like here this is a very different game than most, and I think it can reward people.
Flores is very good at that. He's good at looking at a deck and seeing right away where it's going to line up, who's going to win the long game, who needs to do what early, all that stuff. This is like arguably his best skill.
Oh, apologies, I did have the game scores wrong, so I've adjusted that the win did go to Ryan. So
I think Ryan double mulliganed again, and then also played a turn 2 Enchantress again. That he even has a Windswept Heath in play because of the wild growth, so he can play around days if necessary. So
going on the Enchantress, so like the Argothian Enchantress, given that it costs 2 mana and most of Flores, I guess Flores would be on the play here, so he would have access to a card like Arcane Denial, but it has the likelihood of it resolving on turn 2 is much better than if the game goes really long.
Yeah,
so
you have to just jam.
So yeah.
Also, Ryan double mulligan. Like he's not just going to sit around. Like he has to just play this and hope he can start grinding.
We have a follow from Mo Grodzinski. So is this a person that knows Ryan, or is this just a super fan that has created a Twitch account to cheer on Ryan? Who's the good guy in this match? I assume it's not Stasis. Yes, I would agree that Enchantress is the good guy in this match.
I don't know, man. I don't know. If you play Seed Time, if you play Hibernation, if you play Compost, if you play Ensnare, I hate saying this as much. I'm kind of given Flores is 0-4. I'm kind of rooting for him just to go 0-7 at this point because let's just see if we can do this. And that said, I would never want Stasis to win, but like that sideboard is unbelievable. Like Seed Time, are you like I gotta pick his brain about Seed Time. I can't even wrap my head around it.
Do you like taking X or turn 1 Stasis and play? just you can just skip your untapped step twice.
Grodzinski fan account. Yeah. From what he was a baller like back in the old Florida money draft scene, right? Like he probably has a lot of barns, so I could see some of his barns coming and watching this.
Chad had asked, did Flores choose to draw or did he miss a land drop? I will admit I have not been paying close enough attention. I mean, Ryan had a wild growth. I don't know if you're looking at that as a land. So Ryan only has 3 lands in play right now. One of those
I'm just happy that I saw Ryan double mulligan, so that counts as paying attention for me. I think. Okay, he's doing it again. Like he's doing what he again double mulligan into like the exact cards that he wants.
Yeah. And then resolving is a big deal. Like this draw is a lot different if like Argothian shit just gets Arcane Denialed or whatnot. Then
which he easily could have. He just stuck it out there, right? It could get Arcane Denialed. You know, whatever. 28% of the time it gets Arcane Denialed.
Are the unmatched basics a deliberate, masterful troll, or is it just something you didn't think about? I don't know. Um, I know some people. I'm like whenever I build a deck, like it bothers me if my lands don't match, but it doesn't bother me too much if my opponents. I just different strokes for different folks. So
Yeah, I don't mind them not matching. And he chose a beautiful that Tempest Island is one of the as a fan favorite. Obviously, Bait is great. I don't
there's
know what
not
that
a,
fourth island is thinking. Like, what
there's
is that?
what there's not a Tempest Island in play. There's a
Whatever that one
saga.
is.
The Urza Saga.
Oh, the
Okay.
Saga one. You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Okay.
The one with
Yeah.
the lightning and shit in
All
it.
right.
You know, the people playing their storm decks.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I have a much bigger problem with the random fourth edition island and the Mix Max islands. Ryan's lands, on the other hand, are unbelievable. Obviously, 96 arena lands are S tier. They're way up there. Even though the forest is probably the ugliest one, I still nothing but respect for these lands. So if you're Flores here, I mean, whatever, you can't like jamming stasis does literal nothing. You can't do that. You're just trying to play for a longer game, but you can't keep up with the card advantage. So feels like you're fucked. We weren't sure how this was going to go, but we saw how it went game one, and nothing really changes sideboarding wise. So I don't really like Mike's chances.
Yeah, I guess we were kind of under the assumption that like you'd have a little bit better chance of fighting these initial Enchantress effects.
Yeah,
Like there's already two in play, and the game has not been going on that long, and like that makes a huge difference because now if there's any point that Ryan is just playing an enchantment, he gets to turn it into two more cards, and that allows him to play an attrition game. If that weren't the case, then so many of his draws would just be clunkier, and then
well, that's
Flores might.
game one.
Yeah,
Every card he played, he ancestral. So
yeah.
that's how he drew two replenishes and opalescence and words of war. You know, like you can't draw that if you're not drawing 4 cards a turn.
We see a
Jesus
third
Christ.
effect. So
And these seals just mean like there's just no way, even if he taps out to do a bunch of shenanigans, Flores can't just be like, all right, stasis, go, and just see what happens, you know? There's just no, I don't think that there's any real way out. What is that? Is that a
I think it's
ground
a
seal?
ground seal.
Is that cards in graveyards have no abilities? Does that even?
I think it's lands can't be targeted. I'll bring this one up.
No, it's cards in graveyards. Something like can't be targeted. I think.
Oh, it's all cards. So it shuts out the guy's blessing engine. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a very good. For some reason, I was thinking that it was only like lands couldn't be targeted in the graveyard or something. But yeah.
Well, it got countered because Flores saw the writing on the wall with that one. That's his only real out is blessing into blessing into blessing. And he's just doing it, man. Every card, draw 3, draw 3, draw 3. With 2 seals in play. Also, by the way, you can't target anything. Also, by the way, I can sack and get aura whenever I need. I'll draw 3, thanks.
It's nice when you have an extra land drop when you're drawing this many cards. So
yeah, might as well play a seal and generate 6 whenever you want to. Yeah.
yeah, this looks very bad for Flores. So
yeah, the seals are kind of what's doing it though, right? Because he can just do whatever he wants with reckless abandon.
Yeah, it just kind of opens up. Yeah, it makes Ryan be able to play a lot more liberally. That he doesn't have to worry about like getting caught under a stasis.
It reminds me of like when you have a Mog Fanatic out, or no, a Seal of Fire out in the Slimier, right? Just do whatever you want, and they keep all at you.
Yeah, you're not afraid of that six damage coming at you.
Right. All right, you brought in the forest. Okay, you were right.
Yeah.
Worst beta forest, I think, but
they're all
second worst. The dark one's obviously the best, always.
I like the path one with the flower.
People love the path. I don't quite.
I mean, I'm not a fan of any of the forests. Like I like the swamp, mountain, and islands for the original printings. Like there's ones that I really like, and then like the forest and the plains. Like there's none of the options that I really enjoy. So
the plains all look the same. Honestly, the plains all look the same. The swamps all look the same.
Oh, I think the swamps have a little bit of character though. Like I don't know. I think all the swamps look good. I don't know. So. I would not agree. Like, I don't enjoy the art on plains or forests really from beta.
Right, but these 96 arena planes are hot.
Yeah.
All the arena planes basically are hot. All the APAC planes, the Zebra, all the Mirage, all that era planes, 96 through 98, the planes are so hot. And 93 through 95, they're all abominations.
So we're shuffling
Really?
in 2 Impulse and like a counterspell or something, I think, with the guy's blessing. So
good thing he countered that ground seal.
Yeah.
I love how Flores manages to just put Glaciers and Blessing into every deck.
He literally has Thawing Glaciers in all his decks, I think. In his 75. I think there's one in the Replenish sideboard. A card that, like, traditionally people have not played very much. So
no one even considered playing Thaw in any deck until Flores came around about a year ago.
Yeah, there is one in all 75. It's funny, he had said something about, like, I wonder who's going to play the most Thawing Glaciers, and I had already seen BK's list, and BK has one in his main and one in his sideboard, and I'm like, oh man, if someone's playing more than 2 Thawing Glaciers, that's going to be crazy. So I thought, like, BK was going to win that, and nope, Flores easily takes that because he's got
He was the leader in the clubhouse for that one. Yeah, okay. I'll draw 5, no big deal. Or no, I guess it's only 4, but whatever. That thing taps for 9. That seal taps for 9. Flores has the ability to counterspell exactly 2 times. I think this could just be the turn.
So here's a Carpet of Flowers. That gets you more mana too.
Oh god, second main, add 3 more. Jesus Christ.
So I had bought the Sarah Sanctums so I could play Enchantress. And I got those off TCG Player, and then I got Carpet of Flowers is a card that I bought like 3 of. And this was the last cards that I didn't have for the deck, and I was about to play a monthly, and I get Carpet of Flowers, and they're fake. I got fake Carpet of Flowers from TCG Player, and so it's like, it was just funny, like, those are the cards that got sent to me that were fake. And so
I'm just trying to look and see how much that actually costs. My internet just seems to be real shitty. How much does Carpet of Flowers cost?
It's like a $15, $12 to $15 card. So
somebody out there decided to make fake Carpet of Flowers. Like, imagine having a mind that makes that decision,
Yeah, I don't know, like, if they just have a printless, and, like, cause Carpet of Flowers is played in Legacy, but I don't know. It's like, do they just do it because they want some cheaper cards?
But, like,
so they
you have to be plugged in, right?
Yeah.
No, you don't ever see card. Nobody doesn't know the depths of Magic knows that's even a card, right? No random person printing proxies off in, like, China is printing Carpet of Flowers, right? You have to know about Magic. So that is just, like, such an insane deep cut. I don't even know. Were they like atrocious fakes? Were they, like, really bad?
No, I mean, they looked fine. Like, the texture was like the waxy back is like, it was very obvious, like, for
it felt like a new card that's all shiny and waxy.
But that was the weird thing, is, like, I played with the newer cards and I'm like, these all feel like they feel very different.
They're all plastic. They're all what's going on here?
It's I'm just surprised that the newer cards feel very different to me. So
look at this board state. Flores has 4 permanents in play, and Ryan has 400.
Yeah, Flores did just cast a Gush, so he did pick up, which does help against the Carpet of Flowers. See, Flores has got a plan. I guess, is the Carpet of Flowers still in play? Does that get countered? I don't know. I went off on a tangent, and so...
He has a plan. He has a plan against Carpet. I'm going to bounce all my islands. Fuck you.
So...
Oh my god. This is... we were just wrong. I was wrong. I'm not sure what your prediction was, but I was way off.
Yeah, I thought that...
Solitude.
I thought that the threat density was just too light, and it wouldn't work out this way. Yeah,
I think that you nailed it before. He just jammed these cards early, and they resolved, right? If he gets if that Enchantress gets Arcane Denial, this is a completely different game, right?
Yeah.
So he casts an enchantment. He sacks Sterling Grover in response to get City of Solitude, to draw it off of his Enchantress triggers, to play it, to, I don't know, must counter, can resolve whatever he wants, can resolve, I don't know. I guess whatever. Replenish, Opalescence, Words of War, anything irrelevant because Mike has 0 mana and 0 chance.
Yeah, like once this Sterling Grove. Okay, I was say this Sterling Grove City of Solitude. If that was in play, then the game's just basically over because any threat from Ryan is going to resolve.
Right. Well, City is like the definition of must counter, right? I mean, he just he had to do that to have any shot.
There is still floating mana, so. Is the Carpet of Flowers just like down by the Sarah Sanctum, like with the Enchantress present? Has he separated like the cards that he's like cast this turn in case he casts like Opalescence to attack? That might be where we're at. I don't know.
Right, we're at that point in the match. Yeah. Look at Flores' board. Just look at that board has never been in play in the history of Magic. Paw, City, Forest, Island, go. Like, come on. I'll bet you that's never been a board state ever.
Yeah.
I had a board state the other day. It was, or this was a couple years ago in old school. It was 3 Trops and 3. What the hell was it? 3 Badlands. That was my whole board.
Okay.
3 Trops and 3 Badlands. I don't know if that's ever been achieved before.
I thought you were just gonna say that the board state was just like Savannah or something. That's never happened before.
No, people fucking play that in Legacy. Even they play that card, right? What's the green-white deck? Maverick, right?
Yeah. And there's
three Trops plus 3 Badlands. I think that may have never been. You know how they keep track of like scores in football?
Yeah, the scoregami. The scoregami, yeah.
39 or whatever. I think the 3 Trop. I just checked off the 3 Trop, 3 Badlands bingo spot. And Flores clearly checked off the Thaw City Forest Island spot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gone.
We got BK from the chat that he's predicting a replenish, so.
Thanks, BK.
There will be a replenish at some point, and probably multiple in the same turn, because I'm guessing one might get countered. Though, I mean, Flores does not have
the ability to counter anything.
Yeah, I would say he can daze, which I don't think is very good with this Sarah Sanctum in play.
Right. Ryan has approximately 8,000 mana, so.
Yeah, he can't Arcane Denial, can't thwart. He could foil. Oh,
does he have foil? He must have foil.
I think so. Yeah.
He must have them.
Are there any enchantments in his yard? Yeah, there have been some that have been countered, like a Ground Seal, I think was this game, and a City of Solitude.
Yeah.
So there have been some that have been countered.
Oh, I'll cast Sarah's Sanctum. Yes, that resolves. Yes, that's... Oh, so those are in play. He might be separating them for his inevitable Opalescence. I think you're right.
Yeah. Well,
so he doesn't have lethal on board.
The explorations, which I think were tapped, I think before they had a counter before to signify that they were being used, they were untapped, and I think that's because they are about to attack. I think.
Is he going to actually... He's not going to... These are May abilities, right? If Ryan, if you deck yourself, man, and we have to do this again, just please, for the love of God.
Wait, is that his deck?
That's like 4 cards in his library.
Is that... I didn't realize he has drawn that many cards.
Well, if every spell you cast draws you 5, it doesn't take that many spells. I think if he casts an enchantment, he loses. So he needs to be careful here.
Then so he just needs to replenish. That's the only...
He has to replenish, right? I think that's his only out, because those things only trigger on being cast. That's probably what BK was getting at, and we gave him shit.
Is he using the seal? Oh no, he can't use the seal cleansings to destroy his own enchantments until the Sterling Grove is gone. There's 2 Sterling Groves, so he would need to sack them both.
He can sack them both. This is unbelievable.
I didn't realize that he's just got to have a bunch of replenishes, right? Okay, no, we're getting a Sterling Grove that's being sacked, and here's the other one. So shields are down, which this just be so he can cast Opalescence. Is that his plan? This is wild.
I've already cast Opal. Oh no, he can't. He can't. He still can't. He's still going to draw 5. So I don't know what he's doing. Oh, he's going to replenish. So
he's sealing his own Enchantress's presence.
So now he can have 1 more draw step because he has 3 cards in his library?
Yeah, he can cast an enchantment and draw 2. So was he casting
Are we
Opalescence?
sure that replenish doesn't trigger all these?
I'm sure it does. It puts them into play. Yeah, because all the other ones are upon when you cast them. So here's a Words of War. So if this were resolved, so then we don't have to worry about decking.
What is that? Oh, right. Because he can replace his draws. Sure.
So
what does that even do? He can't draw any more cards. But...
Now do we have a replenish? I guess I'll update Ryan's life total for what it's worth. Oh.
These sanctums are pretty weak now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They only get 6.
Oh, are you counting the wild growth that's tucked
7.
away?
No, I was not. Only 7 now. Flores, so if he says go, which he's going to have to do, right? I don't know how much mana he has. Flores could stroke him for 1, right? Doesn't that do it?
Well, if he has an available mana, because he wouldn't have the mana. I was to say
right.
because if you have extra mana, you could sink the Words of War.
Right, like if Flores has a stroke, he might just win this unwinnable game. Oh no. Oh, he has a Sanctum was mana in the pool, so he still has a ton of mana in the pool. So
I guess given that Ryan's drawn every single card in his deck except for like 2 or 3 cards, it's probably pretty likely that he has a number of replenishes in his hand.
Unless he sideboarded them all out. Chain of Vapor. That Words of War. Is that game?
Chain of Vapor on Words of War. So he's casting Replenish. No. Well.
Oh no, he can sack it in response. He can sack his aura to kill zone Words of War in response to the Replenish. That's what he has to do, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that's.
Which isn't. Yeah, I mean like.
Do it, Ryan. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Do it.
Looks like this.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much. Oh my
All right, so the Chain of Vapor is fizzled. This has been a very interesting. Like, this is not how I expected any point of this match to play. So. No, he doesn't lose when he has to draw because he has Words of War that he can prevent a draw step.
I guess like Flores could have. Oh no, nothing can be targeted anymore, so nothing matters now. Yeah. Okay. So that'll do. Wait, do enchantments lose all abilities under Opalescence?
No, that's humility. Yeah, that's if they were. Yeah.
Okay. So nothing's targetable. He has Words of War to prevent being decked. Although he does have the 1 turn, right? This 1 turn, Flores could still stroke him because he's not dead.
Yeah, and
unless he has a land drop, like he.
Yeah, Ryan needs a land. So Stroke of Genius. It comes down to Stroke of Genius then, right?
Yeah.
But Flores doesn't even have a 4th mana right now. He gotched a long time ago.
He definitely has access to a 4th mana. Maybe he'll discard his Stroke to Forsaken City. That's what we're hoping for. That would be the.
Is he dead to Stasis? No, because I believe he has like.
No, he might be dead to Stasis too, right?
He could just
Stasis...
no. All his guys are creatures, so he could just attack for 20.
Right.
He'd be dead to like land.
Wait, what is Opalescence symmetric?
Yes.
Each other global, it's still an enchantment. Is he dead to Stasis?
No.
Oh no, he has 1,000 Seal of Cleansings and shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
And he could just all his enchantments could just attack.
But he can't. He won't be able to untap and pay for Words of War.
Yeah.
But
okay, I see.
But that won't matter because he has Seal. So it's really just stroke or no. I think he's choosing to discard, to exile. I mean, put in your exile zone. Come on, he can't have stroke. He just can't.
No attacks. I think part of the reason is Ryan did not He's not sure which ones have like come into play from the replenish and which ones were still there.
It doesn't matter. If he gets to untap, he wins.
Okay, so Thwart is being.
Oh my god!
That one should be exiled though. But...
Flores is gonna cast this so fucking quick if he has it. There will be no slow roll, so we're gonna know right away. All right, he doesn't have it. Oh, he didn't draw his card yet. Jesus Christ.
Gabe is asking why cast at main phase. What card are you referring to, Gabe?
Oh no, he looks like he's gonna cast it. He put the rest of his hand down like he's gonna tap out for 4. But now too much time is passing. He's not the kind of guy that doesn't just jam this right up your ass. Stroke. You're dead.
This would be. I mean, that's his only option right here, right? Is there any other?
I think Stasis doesn't do it.
Ryan, the hands going like just.
Are they shaking?
I don't know. I think he's just saying I have the tension. He just doesn't know exactly what's going to happen, and he feels like he's so close. I think Flores might just be reconsidering and just saying, I feel like there's something I might be able to do. Is he going to cast Gush? Okay. 2 mana has been floating.
He's still alive. He's still alive. Oh god.
Is there a Stroke of Genius?
Don't you fucking dare.
That's the only card I can think of.
3.
Intuition.
Okay. That doesn't do anything.
What does Intuition get you?
I don't know, he doesn't have access to any mana. He has 1 Forsaken City, so he has 1 mana. It literally doesn't do anything. So we're fine. We're fine. We did it. We dodged it. Thank you. I think it's a testament to how clunky and shitty Enchantress is. That look what Ryan did, and he just goes, "Oh, all right, go." He almost died and said go, and he drew like a quadrillion cards in his whole deck and had infinite mana, and he still almost died. Like, cool.
All right, so no Stroke of Genius, and Ryan is able to take down the match in a spectacular fashion. All right, I'm going to move over so yeah, we can listen to these players.
Everything. So I had I think 5 hard counters. So I was just like, oh, I could take a Thawing Glacier.
Yeah.
So you cast 6 things.
Good games.
Flores, we really thought you were going to have. We really were.
The matchup I wanted.
Oh, they muted us.
They haven't muted yet.
I actually, the thing that I mostly want to know is what Mano thinks of my basic lands.
Oh, that's always very important.
Yeah.
I think he'll appreciate them from an old school perspective.
They're telling us to come in.
Yeah, you can unmute.
Hey guys.
Hello. That was.
How are you?
Not exactly how that matchup played out. I did not exactly think that was going to how it was going to happen, but it was very interesting. And I
screwed up in game 1. My last impulse I took a Thawing Glaciers. I had like 5 hard counters, and there are only 6 cards in his deck that you have to counter to win the game.
Oh.
And his Replenish obviously resolved. I could have just taken an Arcane Denial, and there were 4 cards left in his life. But the last card that I would have had to counter would have been a Solitary Confinement, which is obviously the one that's the easiest to beat.
Yeah.
Right? So I could have just bounced that 47 different ways. But yeah.
All right. That was my...
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Mike? I literally thought that I had game 1.
Yeah, well, when we looked at like the deck list, because Ryan's just deck doesn't have very many cards that matter, and so we just thought like lineup theory applied, and that it was just kind of.
That's so not nice to say.
Yeah, and then
my cards matter.
Yeah, the Black Mice came down. So were you like, had you mulliganed a bunch the first game, Ryan?
I mulliganed the 4, which
okay.
Obviously was the strat that
yeah.
game, so yeah.
Yeah, because we just thought we were talking about something like, oh, this game's gonna go completely different because the one Black Vice has come into play, and then I didn't realize you had mulliganed that much, and yeah, the Enchantress kind of like set up its engine and then was able to outcard the Stasis deck, and
Enchantress go vroom.
Yes,
yeah,
that's what it does.
I mean, I just should have taken the Arcane Denial. Like that was the.
All right, so Ryan, in game 2, because Mano and I were off on a tangent. We didn't realize that you only had like 3 cards in your deck until that actually moment.
Down to 2 cards in my deck.
Yeah, like, so how did that turn go? Was that always the plan, or just like did the order of your deck?
It wasn't exactly the plan, but Words of War kept eluding me, and so, and I wanted to get City of Solitude as a must counter first, so that, but
I obviously had to counter it.
Yeah. It's just kind of how it panned out. It was just fortunate that I had like just enough mana and in order to get it all done.
So, were you a little nervous of Stroke of Genius that you're gonna get stroked out there?
Nope.
No, because Flores, that's what you were looking for,
he's
right?
got it in his sideboard, so
he had one in his main, right?
No, I tutored for it on like turn 3.
Yeah,
I stroked myself.
A tutor target.
Was that? I thought in game 2.
In game 2?
No, in game 1 I did that.
In 1.
What about game 2? Because
there was no stroke.
You're drawing live to stroke at the end there, right? You have 4 mana. He has no cards and no mana, right?
What stroke?
You could stroke him for 1 and win.
Yeah,
he strokes you to make you draw a card with an empty library.
But his stroke, one stroke in the sideboard, right? Am I not thinking of the list right?
No, there's one in the main.
I think there's one.
In the main.
There's only one in the sideboard.
Oh, he Cunning Wished for it in game 1. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Aha.
Okay. All right.
So you were drawing dead. Okay.
I don't know. I felt like maybe there was a way I could have won game 2 with the Words of War on the stack. But I don't know.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch that one too. That got really messy there.
Because I'm like I
there probably was a not.
I obviously know he can aura his own Words of War in response to the replenish, but the Stirring Groves were coming back.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I don't know.
It felt like he just jammed turn 2 Enchantress both games, and you didn't have. I mean, I guess denial either time.
But I would have never countered it.
Right. That's what I mean.
It's wrong to counter the Enchantress. So I literally had enough hard counters to stop almost all of his cards in game 1. Obviously, almost is a pretty big deal when the last card is a lethal replenish. But if you spend any of those cards on engine pieces like Enchantress or Enchantress's Presence, you're just not going to have them when he actually has cards to kill you with.
So was this the Carlos Romao theory of fictions?
I firmly think I should have won game 1. I literally took a Thawing Glaciers off the impulse. I could have taken an Arcane Denial and countered all the cards in 1 turn. He only would have had 1 card in his entire deck that mattered, which is a Solitary Confinement, and that card's super beatable, right? You could beat that card beat that card like a lot of different ways. Like the
just wait it out.
Yeah, like the replenish is obviously the most dangerous thing to resolve. So it was like total Carlos Romao. I think game 2 he was like so far ahead. I don't know. It was like wildly different than game 1. Like game 1, I had time to dick around with Cunning Wish, and like I felt super confident. In game 2, I think Ryan was just like a mile ahead the whole time. Mano, really, the only thing I care about is what did you think of my basic lands?
Yeah, I was less. So my real issue was not the mismatched lands. I'm fine with that. It was that 4th edition island you had out there. You had the island, you had the beta, and you had a 4th edition island just chilling.
Mano, every single one of my islands is different.
Right, but that's fine. There's the thing is there's 17 beautiful islands in the world. That 4th edition is not one of them.
I don't know what you mean by beautiful islands. I'm not like digging into like you think that like Mirage basic lands are good or whatever. I literally have alphas in my deck.
Mirage are really nice though.
So you're saying that you didn't have any other, or you just grabbed the first 17?
No, I spent like hours putting this together,
and you still punted. That's what I'm getting at.
Like, I mean, I punted in the game. Don't get
no. I mean, in your deck composition.
This is annoying me. I couldn't find like a 17.
Dude, that's your best island. Okay, that's like what we're getting at here. Like we're not seeing.
I think I agree with that. Actually,
what are you high on drugs? There's literally an alpha right here.
Yeah, I like the alpha. I'm a big fan of it. It's fine.
There's like an alpha and a beta next to each other, and here's another alpha.
Yeah.
Or no, one of these is an alpha, one of these is a beta.
Those are my favorite.
Put them all out, just real quick. Put them all out. We got to see it now. Okay. For
I
FPBs,
literally spent
Korean,
TI time
Korean, German, Japanese, in.
making like, look, here's an unlimited.
Beautiful, beautiful dark unlimited in. Keep going.
That's all of them.
Don't stop. That's it.
These are the important debates in pre-modern.
This is what Mano
It doesn't-
prioritizes.
This is the top echelon of.
Ryan, there was
Yes.
a small child at 04. You pushed him down the stairs. He's 05. Nobody cares about the game, and not just that.
Fair, fair.
He
All right.
literally jumped off of the stairs neck first.
Yeah.
This is what's important now.
Yeah. The revised islands I'm fine with too. It's just that fourth one. I don't quite get it. The storm one.
Yes.
The
This
storm
I
one is
couldn't
so
find
great.
another mismatched one.
That storm one is so great. It really puts the icing on your whole island cake. I'm fine with that one. But the fourth edition one, literally anything but that. Any other island, I think.
I don't know, man. I feel like this was a masterwork of islands other than this one. There's alphas.
We'll have to send it to the masses and.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And,
We'll put a poll out on Twitter.
Yep.
but I think that did validate how bad Black Vice is. First turn Black Vice didn't even deal any damage.
Well, how do you beat a Molda 4?
Yeah.
I was thinking about like if I should ban your stasis deck, and I was just like I could just keep using the whatever land and just never take Black Vice damage. And if I ever cast Intuition or Factor Fiction, I'll just win. And I'm just like, and it would suck if I just died to Black Vice anyway. Because you could like that's like the super Achilles heel of pre-modern stasis, like survival decks and stuff, like people who could just like refuse to draw cards or whatever,
Yeah,
or like
they
throw
don't
cards
care.
away for nothing. You can't damage them.
Yeah.
And then like just any kind of incidental Guy's Blessing. Would you have played stasis if I didn't ban it? I mean, this was the matchup I wanted, and then I got Raffle thumped anyway.
If you would have banned Enchantress, I probably would have run Stasis. I didn't feel like I was gonna want to run Trade Winds into the other two decks.
So yeah, I thought you would play Enchantress, but didn't hold up. So what did you guys find anything interesting to talk about?
I guess I was just surprised because I thought like in theory that you had enough counter spells for all his threats. But that's not how it played out.
In practice, I also did. I took Flying Glaciers instead of a hard counter.
Sure.
I was so excited. I'm like, Flying Glaciers. And then in game 2, I probably shouldn't have countered his Ground Seal. But I had this, I was like about to thaw into Forest for Guy's Blessing. So I was just like, oh, I have to complete I could have just thawed for Island and like let the Ground Seal sit there and just like angled it out with Factor Fiction or Intuition instead. And also I had a chain that was a complete waste of counterspell. But
I think it might be fitting at the end of the day that you lost this first game because
of Thawing Glaciers?
Because the world's greatest Thawing Glaciers aficionado decided to impulse for a thaw over a 6 counter spell. That actually kind of is.
No. I would have had enough to counter every card.
Best card in pre-modern.
Ryan loves it, so.
It's yeah. I think that's just fitting. I mean, I'm just gonna throw my match against you next week, so I could just go the.
Yeah,
I mean,
perfect.
and I'm not gonna beat Aaron anyway. I mean, you look at his record.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat him right now, and we're gonna be back to reality. We're all gonna be in the thick of it once I beat him. So.
All right. Well, good match.
Very good match.
All right, let's say goodbye to our players, but we will have Ryan jumping in the booth, and then Mano is going to be down, and he's going to be up against Aaron Dix. So we're going to take a short break as we get them set up. We will be back shortly, so don't go anywhere. There will be a 4th round of the PSS4. We will see you soon.
Bye, friends.